Hi, hello everybody, and welcome to our workshop. Super fast, quick, and you'll see it's going to be very efficient. All right, so we're discussing top 3 strategies to build a strong emotional intelligence skill muscle. Now, for those of you who are joining live or whenever you're actually going to catch the replay, make sure that you ask your questions or make your comments in the live chat or in the comment section. Feel free to ask whenever you have a question to ask. Don't wait until the end. We don't have time. We're going to move quickly because we have half an hour. So let's make the best out of it. All right. So, top 3 strategies to build a strong emotional intelligence skill muscle. Well, I really believe that our skills are just like muscles. That's why I said, let's build a strong emotional intelligence skill muscle, because think about it. It's just like going to the gym. You want to be fit. You don't go to the gym just once a year and then that's it, it's solved. No, you have to go regularly. It's the same thing with our skills. We have to train them regularly. We have to really use those muscles regularly so that they show up when we need them most. All right, so what are we going to focus on today? We're going to look at how emotional intelligence impacts your leadership journey. We're going to see what it really takes to develop emotional intelligence. And I'm going to give you some tips of what you need to have in your emotional intelligence toolbox. All right, so this is me. My name's Roxana. I'm your host for today. I'm the founder and chief game changer here at All Personal, which is a training, coaching, and consulting company, working with emerging leaders to help them build people and leadership skills muscles so that they become dream bosses and build dream teams. I'm absolutely passionate about everything around learning, growing, about workplace culture, about workplace communication, and about transforming the future of work into a future that we're really proud of and happy with. My background is 15 years in corporate learning and development at executive level in top international law firms. And I'm super excited to connect with you on LinkedIn. For those of you who registered, you will have all of the resources, you have the replay, you have all of the information in today's workshop because you registered. So I'm going to send an email right after this to let you know how you can access all of the resources that we're talking about today. All right, so let's get moving with what we said we were going to do. And before jumping in, one thing I've learned from working with lawyers for so many years is that you really have to define things before you start talking about them. So let's define emotional intelligence and see what do we actually mean when we say emotional intelligence. And here it is, as it is defined by Daniel Goleman in his book, Working with Emotional Intelligence. Emotional intelligence refers to the capacity for recognizing our own feelings and those of others, for motivating ourselves, and for managing emotions well in ourselves and in our relationships. Now, what I see all the time is that we tend to focus on developing relationships with others, good relationships with others. And especially when we're at the beginning or somewhere in the middle of our leadership road, of our leadership journey, we want to build great relationships with everybody around us. But here's the trick. We're starting in the wrong place because we actually need to focus on something else initially. And we're going to see that in a minute. So what is emotional intelligence? And it is really all of what you see. It's how we feel and how others around us feel. It's what that skill muscle that helps us identify what feels good and bad and how to change that. We see a behavior that we want to keep, we keep it. We see a behavior that we want to change, then we can decide how we want to change it. Emotional intelligence is what helps us maintain that level of emotional awareness and sensitivity so that we're more aware of the world around us. And really, it means that it's a skill that we can continuously learn so that we understand ourselves and others better. Now, what emotional intelligence is not is this: it's not IQ. Emotional intelligence is not aptitude, it's not achievement, it's not vocational interest, it does not have to do with personality, and it is not static. It means that we can work on developing it every single day. All right, so how does emotional intelligence impact our leadership journey? I mean, it's all about that, isn't it? After all, does it have any impact? And now think about it. I wanted to stop here for a bit and do this little self reflection exercise. Now, think about a manager or a leader that you consider successful. It can be anyone, really. And you can share in the chat, in the comments, what qualities make them successful. What is it that they have that contributes to that kind of success? Because really, again, when we think about success, we define it differently. But I asked this question. Last week, I was invited to speak here at the University of Toronto in one of their leadership classes. And I asked this question: when you think about a dream boss that you had, how did that dream boss make you feel? And no surprise there, a lot of feelings of being heard, being understood, being empowered, being happy. How about that? Being happy at work? Come on. Is that even possible? Well, I think it is. So, thinking about that kind of manager that you consider successful, what are the qualities? Think about it for a little bit. You want to share? Fine. You don't want to share? All right. But just have that in mind as we move through the workshop today. Because here's the thing, there's a study from the Chartered Institute of Personnel and Development in the UK that says that nearly as much as 80% of the reasons why careers are derailed can be traced to weaknesses in emotional intelligence. Now, 80% is a lot. And there's more. These are the three primary causes of career failure: poor interpersonal skills, people who are not good team players, and people who have difficulties in handling change. Now, especially in today's environment, that is crucial. All of these causes, all of what we see, interpersonal skills, team players, managing change, these are huge. And these are really, really based on our own level of emotional intelligence. Now, we looked at career failure. Let's look at some predictors of career success, because that is also related with emotional intelligence. Our ability to handle frustrations or to deal with a diverse range of issues, to manage emotions or to manage our social skills. We talked about that, right? We start when we're at the beginning of any kind of leadership journey, and not just then, but we really want to have great relationships with others, with people around us. And then we focus on that first. So, and we said that's not what we should be doing in the first place. So, where do we start? What's the perfect place to begin? And that's where emotional intelligence comes in. Because according to JD Meyer, Director of Innovation at Microsoft, emotional intelligence is the difference that makes the difference. A lack of emotional intelligence is what limits some people in their ability to manage themselves, manage others, or manage situations. So, how can we do that? Well, let's look at what it really takes to develop emotional intelligence. And I'm going to talk to you about the emotional intelligence framework. And this is really, when you see this, you will know. Like when we talk about emotional intelligence, you will know what we're actually talking about. And we're going to look at it on this scale of awareness and actions and self and others. And this is where we start with self awareness. This is the main point, the start point. It's not the others. It's not our relationships with others. It's self awareness that's going to help us build those successful relationships with others. Because the minute I start noticing my actions and my reactions in specific situations, especially in situations that I perceive as challenging or dangerous or uncomfortable to me, what is the behavior that I want to keep in that situation? And what is the behavior that I want to change? That is self awareness. Looking and noticing and observing and being able to understand why I'm acting one way or the other, or what is my instant reaction, and wouldn't I rather have an action than a reaction? Because that comes with self-management. Once I'm self-aware, once I understand what my behaviors are, then I understand what I want to change. And then I want to unpack that and be able to understand how I can change it. That is self-management. We talk about emotional intelligence all the time from this perspective of managing emotions, but it's absolutely crucial to understand that emotions come from our thoughts. Our thoughts trigger an emotion that is going to trigger an action, and that action is going to give us a result. And I talk about this in my full emotional intelligence course. We don't have a lot of time today, but I wanted you to be very clear of what we're talking about when we talk about emotional intelligence. Is not just emotions, is the capacity to observe, to notice, to manage them in ourselves first. And then we move to others. Then we move to social awareness. The minute I start being more self aware, and the minute I understand what triggers some behaviors in me, that's when I'm going to be able to understand more of why are other people acting and reacting this way around me? What's really, really going on in there? And then I can start building those successful relationships that we're talking about. That's when I'm able to manage my relationships. Because the truth is, if we're not able to manage our own behavior, to manage ourselves, we're not going to be able to manage our relationships with other people successfully. Successfully, as in, what makes success for us? How do we define success? How do we perceive ourselves as being successful? So what does this mean in practice? Let's have a look. It means that once we start working on all of these four components, but again, starting with self-awareness, we become more emotionally intelligent. And that is what we, again, a muscle that we can grow every single day. And when we talk about managing yourself, we talk about self awareness, managing emotions, managing pace, managing our level of optimism and self confidence. How many of us second guess themselves and wished they were more self confident? Well, that's where I always say start with emotional intelligence, start with managing yourself. And then you're going to be able to manage the work because you will know, okay, this is what I do, this is how I behave, and this is what I need to get done. And you understand why you're getting some things done faster and why you're procrastinating other things. And you start realizing what it is that you can do about it because, truth, we can take any kind of time management or project management course, but if we're not able to manage ourselves first, we're not going to be able to manage time because we actually don't manage time, right? We know that. Nobody can manage time. Time is just a concept. We're actually just managing ourselves and our work. So that capacity for initiative and adaptability to problem solve, that comes from managing yourself. And then managing the team. How does emotional intelligence impact the way that you manage your team? What is your level of empathy? How are you working towards developing others? And how are you managing conflict and change? Now, these are crucial, especially in today's environment where things are constantly changing. And we really have no clear picture of where it's taking us. So we constantly need to adapt and to manage that kind of change. And what I see a lot happening in teams and organizations is that people are afraid of conflict and they ignore conflict and they don't address it. And then what happens is it just grows bigger and bigger and bigger. And that is our capacity to manage conflict comes from building a strong emotional intelligence muscle. And then, of course, managing collaboratively. And we're looking at how we influence and inspire other people, how we foster teamwork, and what level of organizational awareness do we have? How well do we understand how our actions, how our management or leadership styles affect the organization as a whole, and even more, the community around us, and maybe other people around the world, especially in this age of globalization. So, really, I wanted to, again, stop for a little bit and just take you through this self awareness exercise. This is something that you can do, for instance, to increase that level of self awareness. It's easy to do. You can do it at any point in time. And these are just some things that you can consider thinking about. Think about some circumstances, some situations that you might be going through, and just think about what goes through your mind, what thoughts you have, and what emotions you feel as you are in one of these situations or in all of these situations. Like being stuck in traffic, that's challenging. Burning your finger, that's painful. Receiving a compliment, how are you taking compliments? Are you saying, oh, no, no, that's nothing really. It's just, you know, it's just an old t shirt that I have, nothing much? Or do you say, thank you, or I appreciate that? What is your immediate response? What is your immediate response to making a mistake at work, or dealing with an angry client, or an angry coworker, or being thanked for something you've helped with, or to receiving constructive feedback? Like, there are a bunch of situations that, because they happen frequently in our lives, we don't stop and think, hey, you know what? When I'm dealing with somebody who's angry, I usually freeze. And the truth is, I hate it. And I don't want to freeze because it's not helping me manage that conflict. I'm not able to manage a conflict from that freezing point. So, what do I want to do to be able to change that the next time that I'm in a similar situation? What behavior do I want to have the next time that I'm in a similar situation? These are powerful questions that, because we rush through our daily tasks, we don't stop to think about. But really, what they do is they help us build on what we want to change and how we want to change it. Because change is not going to happen overnight. Nobody's going to come and give you a recipe of here's what you need to do to be able to manage conflict. Because conflict is going to be perceived differently by each individual depending on their own set of experiences, past experiences, values, beliefs, culture, and all of that. And unless you're aware that, hey, this is my way of dealing with it, and I don't like it because it does not help me, and what can I do to change it? It's not going to change by itself. All right. So, what do you need to have in the emotional intelligence toolbox so that you can work on developing those skills muscles, the emotional intelligence skill muscle? And I'm going to put all of these resources, they're going to be in the live workshop series that, please go ahead, if you haven't registered to that yet, please go ahead and register to it because you get it for free today. Otherwise, it's $79 to get the whole live workshop series. So for you, because you registered, you have until midnight Eastern time to register and get the replay and all of the resources that we have that we're talking about today. And I'm going to share with you the emotion journal. So, what can you do to understand how you can change a behavior? The emotion journal is the number one tool that's going to help you with that. And you can think about it, just note an event, date, and time that something happened. Let's say a challenging situation for you, but it needs to be very specific. I had a conflict with somebody, with a client. And then think about the automatic thoughts. What did you think? The actual event, what happened, and your stream of thoughts. What do you think? Oh my God, I'm freezing again. Oh, I'm so annoyed. Oh, they're not, no, they see things completely wrong. Oh my God, this is not happening to me again. Anything that goes through your mind. And then note down your emotions, how you feel. How did that make you feel? Because there are the thoughts that you had and which preceded the emotions. But now, what are the emotions that you felt? You felt angry, you felt diminished, belittled, misunderstood. What emotion was it? And note them down. It doesn't have to be one or two or five or 10. And then your response, your behavior. This is a do. What did you do? And you can specify the emotion with it. So I felt misunderstood and I froze. You have to put into words put your actions into words, and because that helps you notice the behavior. And then what happened? What was the outcome? What were the consequences of that? And you can say, well, and because of that, because of everything that I thought, everything that I felt, and what I didn't actually do because I froze, I didn't manage it. And we just walked away. And now I have to find a way to talk to them again. Isn't that funny? How we do that all the time and we don't think about it. So I'm going to share with you, because this is the first part of the exercise, right? So you want to go through the event as it happened. And then in the second part, you have the same points that you need to go through, but just think about how you would change your thoughts and how your thoughts would change your emotions, the way you feel, and how the way you feel is going to change your behavior, what you do, how you're going to respond to that, and what the outcome will be if you're changing all of that. So you can say the same event, next time I have a conflict with a client, what do I need to think so that I feel better, so that I change my behavior, and what's the behavior that I want to have, and what consequences do I want, what results do I want. And then you're going to see, you do that a few times, and especially in your most uncomfortable circumstances, and see how this helps you change the way that you react and act from a more present and from a more controlled standpoint. We don't want a reaction like that. We want to know that, hey, I would normally react like that, but I choose to behave this way this time around so that I get a different result. Okay, now empathy is the other tool that you need in your toolbox. And really, when we look at empathy, it's the ability to understand and share the feelings of another. It's just being there with them, being able to listen and to focus to what they say, to acknowledge their feelings so that we connect with them. We don't say, yeah, you're right, but, because that doesn't make it right. That just sounds like a judgment. We're not there to judge. We're there to listen, to acknowledge, to ask questions if we don't understand something, and really refrain from providing our solutions, but help the other person explore options. Because the reality is, we are not there to shoot people. Don't shoot people, and actually don't shoot yourselves, because how many times have you said, I should do this, I should do that, and how many times did you actually do it? So this is empathy. It's the opposite of judging somebody and being rational necessarily about the conversation, but it's more about our capacity to connect just by being able to focus on what they say, or maybe on what they don't say, even on how they feel, and ask questions that help them open up even more. And what happens with that, and this, by the way, listening skills are crucial in any kind of leadership role, because that helps you coach your team and mentor them. It helps them grow feeling empowered, not feeling like, oh, okay, I have this line and I need to go there. I discover my own solutions and I know what I need to do. And that builds on that kind of intrinsic motivation that we want from people. And then, really, what it's all about, it's first and foremost being able to listen. And I know we're gonna be 5 minutes over time, if that's okay with you, because I have wait a minute. I have a video that I want to share with you. So bear with me because it's here. And why I want to share it is because it shows you a way in which you can listen and make sure that in listening you ask questions that are relevant for the conversation, and they're not helping, they're not making the other feel that they're being judged, but that they're listened to and that they're understood and accepted. This covers our basic need, our basic emotional three needs: to be heard or seen, understood, and accepted or valued. So here it is. Go.
I'd like to get better at time management.
What in particular would you like to achieve?
I'd like to finish my work on time at least 3 times a week.
How often do you finish working on time at the moment?
Only about once a week.
How often do you work over?
I work over at least 30 minutes most days.
What have you tried in terms of planning your work so far?
I started planning all my activities and scheduling them in my calendar, but I sometimes get flooded with unplanned requests.
Try blocking distractions as you are working on a specific task.
I have not done that. I guess I could close down my Outlook as I start working on a project and put my phone away.
What other options could you consider to help you achieve your goal?
I could cut down the time that some of my meetings take. I could also learn to say no more often.
Which of these options are you most committed to?
Block distractions and learn to say no.
Awesome. So you see, okay. So I'm gonna stop sharing now. So that's why I wanted to share it with you, because that's such a powerful exercise, because we instantly get into, oh, let me tell you what you need to do. You need to do this and this and that. And it's not helpful because we don't understand the situation that that person is going through. We don't have enough information about their values, about their habits, about their lives, about anything that they're going through. So just offering a solution right away off the bat, chances are 80% it's not going to work. And chances are, yes, they're going to say, yeah, okay, I'm going to try it. And the minute they say that, they go out the door and they forget all about it. And that was part of the listening skills course that we have on the All Personal Learning platform. And it's just such a powerful exercise to do. And by the way, you can do it with your team, or you can do it with your family. You can say just that. You know what? The way that somebody says something and they talk about a problem, and you're not allowed to make any statement. All you can do is ask questions. Do this exercise. The next time that you talk to one of your teammates, or one of your team that you're managing or leading, and just stop yourselves from actually offering the solution and make it a question instead. Instead of saying, you should try this, because again, we don't should people, say, have you tried this? Make it a question at least and see what happens. And let me know. Come back here in the comments and just let me know what changed in how you communicated. All right. So I'm going to send you further resources, but I wanted to let you know that all of the courses are available for you. So we have emotional intelligence, listening skills, feedback skills for leaders, and also time management, so that you can understand how you can plan, prioritize, and execute more efficiently. So you're getting all of the courses on the platform, and we're having workshops every month. So there's going to be more courses in here. So that is leadership development at your own pace. You learn whenever you want to. You get role plays, you get handouts, you get techniques that you can use. Or you can join me in the Lead for Legacy League Starter. And this is my leadership development program for emerging leaders. I'm not going to let you know more about it now because I haven't launched it yet, but it's going to be there tomorrow. So I'm going to send some information about these resources that you have. And feel free to connect with me to find out more. The reason I started it because I see a lot of people that really second guess themselves and look for solutions and options on they google everything, and it takes them a lot of time, and then that makes them second guess the people decisions that they make. So the starter, the Lead for Legacy League Starter, is there for leaders of teams especially who don't have time for more meetings, for more Zoom meetings, who don't have time to learn on their own, who need that kind of accountability, and who need a group of people where they just get together and they can ask questions and they can ask for solutions to challenges that they have right now in real time, so that I don't have to Google it and it takes me a whole day and I'm not even sure that this is the right thing for me to do. So you get all of the courses on the platform. You have leadership assessments and strategies that you can use for yourself and for your team, a private community, weekly drip content for that accountability. We have monthly leadership workshops and a surprise that I'm not going to tell you about here because we're over time anyway. So thank you so much for being here today. Again, make sure that you register for the whole live workshop series so that you get everything that we discussed today free. You also have the previous workshops for free. They have top 3 communication skills for leaders. You have ways in which you can manage and lead a hybrid team. So that's very good information for you that comes with some really practical techniques that you can apply. Feel free to connect with me. I'm happy to chat with you. And that's it for today. Thank you so much again, and enjoy the rest of your day. Bye for now.